Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and early, I guess, late last night, however you want to word it, Blizzard pushed a new PTR build, and with that PTR build came a lot of changes to Demonology Warlock and a few changes to Affliction Warlock, which are actually pretty solid. So today's video, we'll be discussing all of those. I don't want to call it an overhaul to Demonology, but it almost sort of is with how big it is, and Aff got a little better. So, yeah, like always, weak course add-ons down below, links to Twitch and Discord if you want them for free, social media links up here, Twitter, all that stuff, Patreon if you want support there, which is awesome, and I appreciate it, guys. With that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so we're starting off with Affliction here, being the first spec it's mentioned, and Affliction... So the demo changes are surprising. We'll get to that in a little while here. That's more of the video, probably the longer portion of the video most likely. But the Affliction changes today are actually really good for the spec and are likely flying under the radar because people are so hyped up, or I guess hyped up on being angry about Demonology, which is fair and justifiable. But want to review Aff here. So, developers note the number of casts required for Affliction to be properly set up is high and something we can especially feel punishing in multi-target scenarios and all that stuff. We are replacing Malefic Affliction, which used to be here, and implementing changes to Dread Touch and Doom Blossom to make Affliction's rotation more accessible and less punishing. So, Xavius's Gambit has now replaced Malefic Affliction. Xavius's Gambit says Unstable Affliction does 15% and 30% increased damage. Now, Dread Touch on retail says, I believe, like 18 and 39 or something like that, roughly. I think 19 and 39, whatever it is. It's a minor nerf to Unstable Affliction's damage from Malefic Affliction, but Malefic Affliction has to be stacked. 1 stack, 2 stack, 3 stack, and then you have the full effect, right? Now, that also means that Dread Touch does no longer require Malefic Affliction stacks. It literally is, hey, if UA is active on a target and you Rapture, Dread Touch is ticking. It's still 30%, it's still 8 seconds. It's a huge quality of life increase. This makes Affliction much more competitive on fights like Sinarth, where the big ad spawns, on Dathia, where the ad spawns, on Kurog, where the ad spawns. So you can swap targets quickly, move your UA over, and not have to restack Malefic Affliction. This is an incredible quality of life change and a huge, huge, huge positive. Yes, Siphon Life's still around. I get it. I know I don't like it either. It is what it is. Now, on top of that, Doom Blossom. They've changed Doom Blossom from being, once again, based around MA and stacking and corruption and all that stuff. It just says, when Seed of Corruption deals damage to a target suffering from your Unstable Affliction, they explode, dealing damage to all enemies within 10 yards. This does indeed work with Seed of Corruption, and so that, well, obviously with Seed, with Sow. So very briefly, just to show you here, if I cast a Sow on this mob, let's roll a UA here, cast a Sow, watch the damage events here, watch, see, there's 12 Doom Blossom hits, 8 here and 4 here. So it works with every single Seed of Corruption. Now, I'll have a video coming out probably in a few days looking at damage breakdowns for the demo changes and the Aff stuff here and how things are looking. So in a few days we'll get to that. But Doom Blossom, saw on stream today, actually looks pretty competitive in AoE. It's doing a lot of damage. It's not surpassing Seed, but it is a good bit better than what it used to be. This is what Doom Blossom likely should have been. More AoE on surrounding mobs. It feels very, very good. Now, looking at Affliction and single target here, we're going to play this build here and just swap the Dread Touch. I know we don't have Haunt. Not a big deal. It's whatever. Just briefly to show how good this feels. So let's say you're opening up here in single targets or just on some mob or whatever. Put this here. You precast Haunt, whatever. If you have it, we don't have it. Doesn't matter. Precast Haunt, Unstable Affliction, Agony, Corruption, Siphon Life. You'll drain here a little bit, go Vile Taint, no Soul Rock, we're going to be playing that in single target. You'll Dark Glare, is Rapture. There's Dread Touch. 1 Rapture, all it takes. 1 Rapture, not 3 Raptures for MA stacks and the 4th Rapture gives you Dread Touch. No, it's literally 1 Rapture. The cool thing is, UA is here, there's DT again, move UA over here, Rapture, there it is. It's even on both targets right now. It's literally move your UA wherever you want. Rapture, big dot increase. It's good with Soul Swap, because you could previously swap UA once with Soul Swap and retain MA stacks. When the mob died or you had to move it back, you lost the stacks. Not anymore. It's literally, hey, you want, let's say this is the boss, we're smacking this thing. This is Dathia, for example. We're crushing Dathia, doing whatever, big damage is up, we're doing whatever. Oh, the prio ad spawned. All right, sick. Move you away. Agony, corruption, siphon. Dump your vital taint, your soul rot. Start rapturing. One rapture, bam, there's dread touch. It's so much better for a hard prio swap. If you're playing soul swap, you can literally just go inhale, exhale, rapture, and it rolls again. It's so much better for Aff's quality of life in raiding with prio mob spawning, even in plus with mob spawning at times. It takes Aff from being on the verge of competitive, like on certain fights with ads and all that stuff, to actually being legitimately competitive. It got buffed recently. It's doing pretty well. And Malevolent Visionary builds with Clash Trinket are pretty good as well. I mean, keep an eye on Aff. Don't sleep on this. The demo changes in a minute here. Yeah, they're something. But keep in mind that Aff got some substantial changes today that make it a good bit better in these prio ad competitive base settings. I realized I didn't scroll down all the way, but yeah, like I said, Dread Touch has been changed. So is Doom Blossom, and the changes right here. Dread Touch changed, same as the tooltip. Same thing goes for Doom Blossom. So yeah, TLDR, Aff, big quality life increases. Keep an eye on Aff for his prio swaps in raid encounters, and don't sleep on Doom Blossom. We'll look at it in a few days in the damage video, but it's actually pretty impressive. All right, so Demonology. I'm going to hop between retail and PTR here because it is testable on PTR. A lot of talents have changed spots, are gone. There's new talents. I'm going to show you where they are in the talent tree, and hopefully that is a decent example. I don't know. So moving on here, Demonology. Developers note, we're working to reduce the peaks and valleys of Demonology's throughput by depowering called Dreadstalkers, our dogs. They've been nerfed a lot over the past few months, and honestly a year or so. This will allow us to compensate by increasing the throughput of Demonology's other rotational spells. We hope to have this tuning adjustment soon. So number one, tuning to this version of Demo, the Overhaul in a sense, has not been done yet. So numerically, we're not looking at numbers tonight, soon we will, but there's tuning coming, right? Number one, by the way, this says to me that well, we'll come back to that when we look at the changes, but there's something that I want to talk about there. Lastly, the demonic core economy has been too generous in Dragonflight, which, yes, it has been. I agree there. It feels bad, but I mean, losing that, but it has been, let's be honest. We want to return Demonology to a place where Shadow Bolt is frequently cast, which nobody wants to cast. It's an odd way of wording it, but I mean, Demon Bolt damage feels impactful, and the number of instant casts available is a bit more limited. Demonology has had a very, very large amount of instant cast Demon Bolts. I mean, Handy Gul'dan gives shards. Well, I guess, okay. Demonic Meteor, Handy Gul'dan has a chance to refund shards. From this, from Soul Conduit, from Imp Expiring, from 3 Dogs, from Demonic Knowledge, you have had a plethora of shards and refunds. And more refunds means, you know, I mean, more hands cast and more core stacks being stored. Everyone's felt it. You rarely ever cast Shadow Bolt. So I get what they're saying here, but at the same time, that's what makes Demonology feel good, right? Partially. Also, the 3rd Dog makes Demo feel good. But 3rd Dog is now gone. Rip from the Portal, this talent here, 3rd Dog. Demonic Knowledge, here, this Hand of Gul'dan Shard Generation talent, or Core Generation talent. Shadow's Bite, doesn't matter, it sucks, it's fine, get rid of it. Demonic Meteor, which is impactful as well, and Fell Might, which is a bit underwhelming, have all been removed. They're all gone. All gone. So no more 3rd Dog, no more Hand of Gul'dan, Demonic Core procs when you're casting Hand, no more Shards and Demonic Meteor. It feels pretty bad. I will say that I definitely want to test these out more, but 3rd Dog, having your 3rd Dog was exciting. Everybody loves Dreadstalkers for Demonology. Flavor-wise, it felt great. It was our tier bonus from Sepulchre. It felt great. It was fun to have. It was awesome. It felt really good. To a similar extent, Demonic Knowledge, Old Born of Blood, helped the spec flow really well in combat. Because there were times you had these droughts of no Demon Bolt procs, and it feels really bad. Moving on from there, so we have new talents, right? So Felon Steel has been redesigned. This talent here, it will now say your primary Felguard's Legion Strike damage is increased by 10%. And your primary Felguard's Fellstorm damage is increased by 5%. So they're also removing the Dread Bite damage effect from Felon Steel, further devaluing dogs. So you have 2 dogs now with no Dread Bite damage increase on Felon Steel. There's a new talent here called Heavy Handed, increases the damage of your primary Felguard's, increases your primary Felguard's critical strike chance by 10%. This replaces Fell Might, which is right here. So I mean, let's be honest, Fell Might was a bit either way. This is likely better, but there's one constant here with all these new talents. They're all passives. You don't feel any of them, right? Keep that in mind. So moving on, new talent Cavitation. Your primary Felguard's damaging critical strikes deal 10 and 20% increased damage. This is an Umbra Blaze's spot. Umbral Blaze moved over here somewhere. It goes here. New talent, Shadow Flame Acolyte. Shadow Bolt deals 15% increased damage, and Demon Bolt deals 10% increased damage. This is now where Demonic Knowledge was, which is a very, very subpar trade-off, but I mean, I don't know what to tell you. New talent, the Imperator. I mean, it's a cool name. I like it. Increases the crit strike chance of your Wild Imp's Fail Fire Bolt by 5% and 10%. It goes here. Demonic Calling is bumped down here somewhere else. It goes here. We'll look at PTR in a sec as well. Another new talent, Dirty Hands. Hand of Gul'dan deals 8% and 15% increased damage, and the critical strike chance of Hand of Gul'dan is increased by 8 and 15%. I think it's sitting right here as well. Yeah, it's where Inner Demons was, and this is where, yeah, Demonic Calling was. They bumped both these down a row here. So on top of that, Fell Covenant has been moved to Shadow's Bite's previous location. Now, I don't like Fell Covenant. I will say, having less Demon Bolts to cast from Demonic Core procs means you will cast Shadow Bolt more often. So passively, subliminally, Fell Covenant, probably easier to maintain. Big thing here, though, it's now a 1-rank talent, and it's right here. Let's be honest, neither of them are fun, but Shadow's Bite just sucked, right? It wasn't very good. So this is probably a gain as far as like raw damage and like the strength of your build isn't single target is concerned by putting this here. But I mean, once again, it's Fell Covenant, so no one likes it. Umbral Blaze has been moved to Fell Covenant's location. It has 2 ranks. Dread Calling. So this right here, Old Grim Inquisitor is legendary, has been moved to Ripped from the Portal's location, and it now is 2 ranks. So it is 2% at rank 1 and 4% at rank 2 is sitting here. Once again, another nerf to dogs. And then Inner Demons has been moved to this spot here, and it is 1 rank. So that's what happened. Let's get on PTR and look at it. Bam, we're on PTR. Look at that. So I built this tree. This is likely a good single target tree. You probably want to play a point here over this if you're playing Saxhol's build, but I was starting here. So the changes here. Yeah, Fell Covenant is here. It's a 1 talent point ability. This is Shadow Flame Acolyte, Shadow Bolt, and Demon Bolt damage increase. You still have Vile Fiend, still have Strength. Hound Master Stratagem is good with Saxhol's built and all that because increases the Shadow Flame stuff. So over here you have Heavy Handed, which is the new Fell Might replacement, more crit damage or a strike chance from your Felguard. Here is Cavitation, which was right here. Umbral Blaze was here. It has now moved over here to where Fell Covenant was, I believe. And yeah, I mean, honestly, a handful of these new traits will just be sim things, depending whatever's best you take it. But yeah, this row didn't change. This is all the same. Dread Calling, rank 2 out of 2 here. Adding a rank to it feels really bad. Once again, another nerf for dogs. Thank God Imp Gang Boss is still here. There's Fell Covenant with rank 1 out of 1, which to be fair, I don't mind it being this high in the tree. It feels like a powerful effect to have that earlier in the tree. I know it sucks. I don't like playing it either, but it does feel like it's pretty strong having it that high in the tree. I'll take it. And yeah, Umbral Blaze is here. Still very undertuned. But, oh, and Demonic or Dirty Hands is here, giving you Hand of Gul'dan damage and crit strike damage increase, right? Now, the big thing I've taken away, Imperator looks to be the strongest talent out of like the new 2 rank ones. Your Imps crush, they do a lot of damage. We'll look at it in a few days in the video, but increasing their damage even more is pretty solid. But the one thing that I want to drive home here is that, well, I guess 2 things. Number 1, damage has not been fleshed out. They haven't said, hey, yo, we're done tuning, have fun, test it out, run sims. Tuning is still coming. So there's that. But we've lost a lot of really cool abilities having your 3rd dog, which feels cool. It's fun. It's exciting. It's demonology. You're commanding these dogs and these demons. You lost your 3rd dog. On top of that, you also ended up losing, what else? Demonic Knowledge. And having, I mean, losing 3rd dog means you have 1 less Demonic Core stack per dog cast because you have 2 dying now or expiring versus 3. Demonic Knowledge going away means that you have much less potential to move because, I mean, you don't have those random procs coming in between dog cast, between power siphon cast. And Shadow's Bite, whatever, Demonic Meteor, the shard gen loss of this is going to feel a bit worse than people may think too, because honestly, like, getting a Meteor proc with a Soul Conduit refund felt really awesome. There's a bit of like, maybe a little bit of skill there reacting to procs. It was fun. It was exciting. It had a little bit of RNG, demonology, but it made it fun. It wasn't like, you know, a 80k DPS swing. It was a great talent. It was an Azerite trait in BFA. It was awesome. People liked it. But the thing is, all these traits they've replaced them with passive, boring, baseline imp crit, passive, boring, baseline handy rule land damage, passive, boring, crit to your Felguard, passive, boring, crit to your Felguard. And like, I don't, and here, passive Shadow Bolt, Demon Bolt damage. Like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm being like toxic or anything, but just, it's not fun. They're all just like, oh, it's like getting more of these. Like, I mean, yeah, it's cool, but like, it's a damage increase, but I mean, it doesn't do anything, right? Like, you're still casting dogs, still casting hands, still setting up tires, but it just, you lost your third dog, which is really fun to play with. You've lost your core interactions, a lot of it due to losing third dog and losing demonic knowledge. So you're much more stationary now. When you have your tyrant out and your dogs are extended, you have no core procs coming in at all, and it's very stationary gameplay. It's just awkward. I have tested with 2-piece, 4-piece, and here, let's just look at it in combat. So I'm playing this build here. The 2-piece does indeed still seem to sync with your 4-piece or with your tyrant, I'm sorry, but it's, you'll see what I'm getting at. So in single target, we're going to open up here playing this build. I'm going to siphon with 2 imps out. Let's just go. So watch my Grimoire and watch my tyrant timers when we're in combat and stuff. We're going to open up normal portal, Grimoire, Biofiend, dogs, hand, Demon Bolt, hand, no refunds here really at all because you're not like playing any kind of demonic knowledge stuff anymore, which sucks. Might have been a bit late, probably shouldn't have handed there, no big deal, doesn't matter. Big thing, so watch the sync on my Grimoire and my Tyrant, and this is the big part here, is like when you have your Tyrant out, you got a bunch of extensions on dogs and everything, right? We have Siphon here, but there's no hand procs coming in here, no core procs, I'm sorry, from Handy Gul'dan cast, no demonic knowledge. Now at this point, dogs are expiring, so procs start coming in. We have 2 procs here. Launch that. Procs here. Imps are expiring too. There's 2 more from the other dog set. 4 cores, 3 cores, 2 cores. When you're not in your Tyrant, it actually doesn't feel that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be when we have like no core procs. No, you have some. It's a bit of RNG. Here, we typically would have some. We don't have any. We can siphon right about now. Launch 1. We have dogs coming in here too. But it's this weird, like, feast and famine drought kind of thing. You either have some imps expiring that give you stacks. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it feels different. It just feels bland. It's not as exciting to play Demonology anymore. When you have 3 cores coming in, 4 cores coming in, you can move, you can cast a bolt while you're jumping, moving, reacting to spells. It just feels bland. And that's pretty disappointing overall. Grimoire is indeed synced here, though. I'm hardcasting a bolt, but Grimoire is indeed synced here with Tyrant a bit. We're going to cast another set here, no big deal, but you do indeed still get the 2-piece sync by just casting your cores, even next patch, with the reduced amount from your dogs and from demonic knowledge. So it does sort of go to show that, like, yes, you might have a bit, you might have an excessive amount currently on retail because they have nerfed it a bit and we're still getting a sync here. It might be a little tighter, but it's more of just it's not as fun to play anymore kind of thing. There's been some cool traits, third dog, demonic knowledge, things here and there that they've replaced with generic abilities. They moved Fel Covenant up a row. It's basically mandatory now because you pretty much want like Power Siphon, Inner Demons. You're not going to go through here to get Inner Demons and vice versa. It's just pretty much required in a single target. I see where they're getting at when it comes to saying, oh, these abilities, Imperator or whatever, Dirty Hand, this will increase your passive damage. You're out of CD damage. It will, but it's just really bland and really boring. I would love to have, if there's any kind of potential chance of them reverting some of these changes, demonic knowledge, okay, one of the two. Let us keep the third dog or let us keep demonic knowledge. I prefer the third dog. Everyone loves it. It's an awesome bonus. It feels great to play. But my one concern with that is that dogs have been nerfed multiple times. It got nerfed 2 months ago for no reason again. Demo's AoE is very mediocre now because of that. It wasn't even great in the first place. It was good, but not great. It's been nerfed a lot of times already. And I'm curious based on the wording here, because they said that nerfing depowering Dreadstalkers. This will allow us to compensate by increasing the throughput of Demonology's other rotational spells. It makes me wonder if having the third dog around was just too much RNG and too hard to tune around. Because if you think about it, we lost Hounds of War, the ability that reset Dreadstalkers talent, whatever that was called. But you still have Carnivorous Stalkers. You still have FTS or Houndmaster Stratagem. You still have Dreadlash, right? And having that third dog means you have basically a 50% additional chance for this to proc again, which means it reprocs this, which means it procs this again for more damage. It might just be a tuning mess having the third dog around. But if there's any chance to have the third dog around, I plead to please try and keep it around. It's a really cool ability. Everybody loves it. And also, taking away a dog further nerfs Dread Calling, which is already nerfed, being 2 points down instead of 1. So, I mean, I get where they're coming from with these changes. I'm okay with some of them. I actually am, but I don't think, like, I think this is a good replacement here. I'm okay with this being here, but I don't, getting rid of third dog and getting rid of demonic knowledge for this, I don't think it's a step back, I think, overall, when it comes to overall spec design, fluidity, and just the current state of the spec. So we'll see where it goes. It's early testing, obviously. It's the first build on PTR. Hopefully one of the two stays around, being demonic knowledge or third dog, but yeah, I don't know. I guess we will see where it goes. Oh, and when it comes to the AoE build as well, which we didn't cover here, I'll build one right now. This is where I was looking at roughly. It's actually sort of similar to what you play on retail. You're grabbing Dreadlash and things, grabbing Carnivorous, Demon Bolt, obviously. I don't think you want Shadowflame Acolyte, but the problem here is that you want Implosion. This trait and this trait could not be any opposite, like any like they're polar opposites, but you have to grab Shadowflame Acolyte to get into Implosion, which you want in AoE. One thing we noticed as well in testing, which once again, tomorrow or the day after will be a testing video for damage and things. Bloodbound Imps almost feel, it's probably mandatory now when it comes to Mythic Plus and things in AoE. Without having a doubled chance to get cores back, you want this. You're going to want Bloodbound Imps. Besides that, we're going into Grimoire. We're grabbing Demonic Calling, we're grabbing Dread Calling, there's that. Still grabbing Power Siphon, grabbing Inner Demons. Both Inner Demons and Demonic Calling are 1 talent points now. Grabbing Imp Gang Boss, obviously. You have this one floater point left here for now, which is awkward. So you can put it over here in Fell Sunder. You can put it over here in Heavy Handed. You can put it over in a handful of places. I've opted for Fell Sunder at this point. It depends what you want to do, though. We weren't initially playing Bloodbound Imps and actually had thrown it in Sunder with 1 point left and put it in Fell Covenant, because while Covenant is not great at AoE at all, you ignore it in AoE. It's sort of how like Burned Ashes feels in Mythic Plus. It's not great in AoE, but there are times you're in a priority single target setting, a boss, and having a 1 point talent investment into Fell Covenant like this could bring a decent bit more damage in those settings. But if you're playing Bloodbound Imps and things, I think you just probably put it over here. And besides that, it's the same thing. Just playing this, I was grabbing Guillotine, grabbing Ring of Tyranny, and that leaves basically 1 point, which, once again, you can spend probably maybe in Heavy Handed, either in that or over here in Fell Covenant if you want. You can put it in Portal, but I don't think you play Portal in Plus, really. We did have a build that played 2 points in Dirty Hands here. I think we had 2 points in Dirty Hands and nothing in Fell Sunder, which does increase handing golden damage and its crit chance, but I don't think it's worth really putting a point in here or even 2 over the likes of Sunder and or possibly just playing it in Covenant for single target or Heavy Handed for, I guess, a bit more, well, you know, Felgar damage. So with that being said, we will see where it goes over the next few days and weeks. I would assume we're probably about a month or so away at the earliest, if not a bit longer, before PTR hits retail. So we'll see where that goes. No Destro changes, and I am praying that both Destro and the Clash Tree changes, if there are any coming, are next week. Because, listen, while Demo getting changed and things is not the best right now, lost third dog, all that, lost a lot of shard or demonic core procs, man, if you just take this talent right here and put it over here somewhere, all will be forgiven. Please. So thanks for watching, guys. It was a pretty busy day with everything going on with Warlock stuff. I didn't really expect it, but it is what it is, you know. The Affliction changes are actually pretty solid. I like them. It's good for a prog-based setting, good for prio ads and all that. Funny enough, like last year, Affliction slowly rising over the first few weeks and months of the tier. We'll see where it goes. It's competitive in rating right now. It's actually pretty solid. And the Malevolent Visionary build with Clash Trinket and Spoils and PI is actually pretty dang solid. The demo changes, time will tell. Once again, I don't think they're not, I don't know. They just remove a lot of the fun when it comes to Demonology. In the end, they could be better, damage-wise. If that's the case, well, if it's good, we'll play it. But I mean, I think we're losing out on what makes Demonology in a sense. Core refunds, third dogs, big pets and all that. Like, yeah, there are buffs to imps and buffs to Hannah Gul'dan and things, but I don't know. If there's a way to retain either demonic knowledge or hopefully third dog, I hope that they look into it, because it just feels a little bad. You know, it's probably a step back as far as overall design is concerned, but we'll see where it goes. So, all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Like always, weekly wars and add-ons, links to Twitch and Discord down below. We're all for free for y'all. At the same time, I want to give one huge shout out to my patrons, like I always do. That's for all support on Patreon. Thank you a million times. I really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down below. And yeah, thank you for all support. I would venture to guess 10.1.5 PTR is probably a month or at the earliest a month away, probably a month and a half roughly. But with us still being in Prague and things, hopefully Warcraft's dead in like 3 weeks, maybe give or take. I mean, it's closer than it may seem. Probably gonna remake all the guides again for 10.15, but you know, hey, it is what it is. And honestly, before we know it, 10.2 will be on PTR, and that's gonna be a wild ride. So, all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. Look for the video coming out in a few days for damage testing as well of the changes, and I will catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.